Yes, people. Welcome back to another transfer video for Liverpool related. Today we're talking Alexander Isak. Now, let's dive into it. So, this is what Lewis Steele has had to say on the Isak situation. Newcastle don't want to sell Isak for cheap. He'll have to be a ballpark of 130 to 140. Liverpool are realistically going to pay that in the summer where they sign Wirtz. Hard to see, but I wouldn't completely rule it out. There's been a couple of other talks around the Isaac situation as to why people are thinking this deal, could actually happen because Newcastle are now set to open talks for 60 million João Pedro. And you're looking at this, their front three is going to be Isaac, Gordon. You're not going to play Pedro on the right. So I get you can add in depth and stuff like that. But the 60 million, is João Pedro realistically going to sit on the bench? I mean, he's put up, I would say, decent numbers for a Brighton team. 10 goals, 6 assists, 6 goals in the Europa League last season. So he has put up decent numbers since joining there. And is he realistically gonna want to leave to go on the bench? Now the project and everything at Newcastle is obviously going to be a lot better than it is at Brighton. However, when he could potentially go to like a Liverpool and he'll automatically be a starter because Liverpool need a striker. Same for Arsenal if they were linked with him. United, other teams, Aston Villa for example, if they want to get rid of Ollie Watkins. I'm just thinking, is he realistically going to go there and sit on the bench? No, but then you could argue, rotate with Isaac. We know he's got injury problems, so that's another thing to take into consideration. But the fact that Lewis Steele is saying I won't completely rule it out is an interesting one because I feel like he's been quite reliable when it comes to Liverpool in recent times. This is what Alex Kruk has had to say. Despite spending 186 million on Wirtz, Frimpong and Kirkers, Liverpool aren't finished just yet. The Premier League champions are still interested in Alexander Isak and Gordon. So that could indicate maybe do they potentially move for the one in the turn. Alex Kruk covers Newcastle stuff very well, so if he's talking about Isaac, then he's probably heard something within the radar of that Liverpool still want Isaac. And you have to think, guys, we're going to be getting a big chunk of money for Darwin, a chunk of money maybe for Luis Diaz if he is to be moved on in the summer. And Ian Doyle obviously also reporting that Liverpool are still huge fans of the Isaac player. Bless myself. And I think it's really interesting when you've got Newcastle guys coming out and talking about it. So there's obviously something, in the background that, this deal potentially, could happen. We know Liverpool wanted Isaac. He was their first choice striker going into this summer. And the reason why I do think a deal is possible is because, I want to explain to you why, is this. See, if you go to the Liverpool wage bill, look at the players that we're going to be getting rid of and the money that we're going to be freeing up. Trent's wages gone, millions of pounds saved. Robertson, millions of pounds saved. Chiesa will be sold, 10 to 15 mil, 150 grand a week, every week, saved. Darwin Núñez, 60 to 70 million, 140 grand a week, saved. Then you've got your Simicazes in there, your Elliott's, your Kwanzas, who's probably going to go. So Liverpool are going to generate a lot of money this summer, so that's why I wouldn't completely rule it out. And an Isaac deal is probably more likely to happen later in the winter than early in the window because it gives Newcastle more time to assess the contracts, assess the situation around him. and look at maybe alternatives, because obviously they know replacing Isaac is obviously, it's obviously going to be a tough task and it's going to be tough to do. You look at their wage bill, he's on, what's Isaac on? So Isac's on 120, so Liverpool can easily offer him 180 to 200. He has got 3 years left. So Newcastle, probably in the next year, are going to have to decide, what do we do? Do we cash in and get a big chunk and use it to completely reinvest the whole squad, keep improving and stuff like that? Or whether they give him a new contract. I feel like he loves the club, the Saudis love him, so they're in no rush to get rid of him. But it's definitely a couple of topics that's going to obviously need to be have. And I'm really intrigued to see how this one could go. This one's going to be one where I feel like Liverpool don't do anything around about the Isaac deal until they know what their financials are from selling players like your Kwanzas, your Elliots, your Nunez's, your Chiesas. So we can easily generate the money to get Isaac. That's not a question. It's whether Newcastle would sell. And I remember a couple of months ago there was reports that Isaac would be open to leaving Newcastle, to maybe go to like a Liverpool. Liverpool wouldn't have such high interests with Isaac, and they also did have talks with his representatives not too long ago, so they wouldn't do all that if they didn't think there was a chance of signing him. We're not going to just do all this to faff around about signing a 130 to 140 million pound player. I think there's a couple of ways you could do this deal. You give them the money, boom. We know they've had interests in Kwanzaa, Joe Gomez, Harvey Elliott. So there's a couple of players that we can use in exchange, plus cash for Isaac. And I'm looking at the striker market and I'm thinking, look, we know Liverpool's priority is to get a striker. Their links right now aren't strong enough. You've got Hugo Ekitike's right now, but do Liverpool really value him at the price? Looks like no. So whoever that is going to be, it's going to be really interesting. And I do think Isaac is still on the priority to try and get him this summer. Like I just said, all the points I just mentioned, and obviously Lewis Steele thinks, it's hard to see, but it's completely, can't rule it out. And I don't think you can rule anything out, because no one thought Liverpool would sanction the Florian Wirtz stuff to be Bayern Munich, to be Manchester City, to get him out of Germany. So there's every possibility still. So I think it's really a ones to watch in the next 2-3 weeks, whether Isaac will come to Liverpool. So people, make sure you're subscribing, you're smashing the likes. Let me know, is Isaac possible? Right now, I would say 20% yes, he will come. 80% no. Just due to the facts of also, he has just won a trophy, Champions League football. I think if he didn't get Champions League football and didn't win a trophy, I think the arguments are a lot stronger, the possibilities and the percentage are a lot stronger. And the fact that he made a pivotal role, obviously, to getting Champions League football, to obviously winning their first trophy in 70 years. So he's still embedded into that project. And I do think, if not, then next summer, we've got a real good chance, because at that point, if Newcastle maybe don't get Champions League and they miss out again, then you can make a stronger case, because he'll have 2 years left, so his market value will naturally go down. And obviously, Isaac is 25? Yeah, he's 25, so he's 26 in September, sorry. So in the next 2 years, he's going to be going into his prime, so he's going to be making the decision where, do I stick with Newcastle, keep embedding in the project to try to work towards a title challenge, or do I move on? And also, in the next year or two, he's going to have more clubs sniffing around him, not just Liverpool. Barcelona will want a striker, I'm sure. Bayern Munich, with Kane getting older, won't be surprised if Real Madrid are interested, if I'm being honest. You never know with them. So, people, where is Isaac going? It looks like Liverpool are still interested, But whether that happens remains to be seen. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Smash the like and subscribe.